Philly 500. He's got to be chomping at the bit right now, man.
I haven't slept all week. This game ain't here yet. This is like the longest week of my life. I'm ready.
All right, man. Giants, Eagles. Let's start there. Give you the hard one here. How do you see it playing out?
You're going to give me a hard one. Pause, all right? Let's pause it first to begin with. How do I see it? It's going to be an old-fashioned NFC East slugfest. That's what it's going to be. Old-fashioned NFC East slugfest. This game is going to be close. It's going to go to the fourth quarter, and the team who doesn't make the mistake late wins. Typical Giants-Eagles.
Do you believe in what you saw in Minneapolis with the Giants, or are they the Week 14 Giants, or the Giants we saw this past weekend, or somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere in the middle. I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think that they played their best football versus the Minnesota Vikings. I thought Daniel Jones, that was his best game I've ever seen him play. From a decision-making, when to run. I thought the offensive line gave him a lot of time. But at the same time, it's Minnesota Vikings. And I knew when it was like 4th and 8 and Kirk Cousins threw that 2-yard pass instead of getting to the first down marker, I knew that was typical Minnesota. Minnesota always comes up small in the playoffs. Let's face it. So I think it's somewhere in between.
Here's the big thing that you saw too when you're watching that Donatel defense. I mean, Philly, the windows for Daniel Jones to throw in were like a barn door open.
Right.
That's where I want to see Daniel Jones, and I'll kind of convert the question here. Do you believe what you saw with Daniel Jones, or are you like me? Saturday night, I want to see it again. I don't believe it. I think, hey, look, beginning of the year, Philly, it was a Barkley team. Today, it's a Daniel Jones team, and they've made that transition. But are you sold on Daniel?
No, I'm definitely not sold on Daniel Jones. I have to see it again. But I do think he has played better this year. I do think it was his best game. I like the decision making. I think they said something like 17 times himself. Yep. So I liked that part of it. I thought he seemed to be cool and calm, in the game. It wasn't too big for him. But I also think Minnesota, they don't blitz. They sit back. And, we saw that when they played the Eagles week 2. I think you have to get pressure on a guy like him. I thought Daniel Jones had way too much time in the pocket. So I have to see it again. I do.
I'm going to say this about Jalen Hurts Saturday night. He needs a Philly moment. And what I mean by that is he needs a signature moment where people look at that and gravitate, like when you watch Mahomes win a Super Bowl. Shit, man. Nick Foles. Let's run it.
Right.
Joe Montana. Elway. The Drive. There hasn't been that signature moment in his career. Last year, they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On Saturday, he's got a chance to begin his legacy. Am I off base when I say that? Because a lot of people are looking at, when I say this, and I go like this, hey, look, man, legacies aren't built in the regular season. How many times, Philly, have you said this to me? Hey, Cousins wins a lot of ball games, puts up a lot of yards, but they're hollow stats. Same with Dak. Isn't this one of those moments for Jalen?
I think it has the opportunity to be one of those moments, but let's face it. Let's say he wins this game, then we're going to be saying the next thing the following week. Can he have another moment? Because each week these games, are more important. They get harder. You're playing a tougher team, and I think that it's the start. But it's going to be the totality of the whole playoff run. Think about 2017. We played Atlanta Falcons in the first round. We struggled. We came one play away from losing that game. It wasn't until the next week and then the Super Bowl that Nick Foles had his own moment. So it starts now, but when that moment comes, I don't know. I don't know if it has to be versus the Giants is what I'm saying.
Is it Super Bowl or bust?
I think they got to make the Super Bowl. If they don't at least
get this would be a disappointing season. This would be a disappointing season if they don't get to Glendale.
Yeah, it would, because I look at it like this. If they lose this game, what am I going to be doing the next 2 weeks? Probably
You got the
crying,
Sixers.
sleeping. I'm going to be miserable. I'm gonna just be like, stay away from me, everybody. I'm going to be miserable. So obviously, yeah, it would be disappointing. They got to get to at least the Super Bowl for me to feel like, all right, what a great year.
Is Hurts' health the key to this game?
I think it's one of the keys. Because I think if you look in that final game, they handcuffed Jalen Hurts. He wasn't running. He wasn't doing a lot of things that he normally would do. And I also think Miles was limited in that game too, which played a factor. But I also think it's the defense. Like, I think this defense has to rise up this game and be aggressive from start to finish.
Who do you think the Eagles' defensive coaches, and most notably Gannon, is more concerned about? Saquon Barkley or Daniel Jones?
Probably Saquon Barkley. If
Why?
you look at his pass, well, because if you look at Jonathan Gannon's pass versus quarterbacks, oftentimes he shows them too much respect. I can go back to last year where guys have over 80% completion percentages against him. We've had that the last few games of the season this year. I think sometimes he gives too much respect to the quarterbacks, and some of them deserve it, but sometimes I think you got to be a little more aggressive. I think that they're probably keying on Saquon Barkley even still, and and Daniel Jones's legs. I don't know how much he thinks about his arm, to be honest.
I'm going to say something to you here that some people on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show got a little bit aggravated with me. Well, as you know, Philly, they get aggravated with Big Sills because Big Sills points things out. I want to show this to you. Before I continue on it, you think Sirianni has any heat on him Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a home game, a divisional game. You got to win, But by heat, if you're saying like, is there a chance he could get fired or anything like that? No, but I think he would take some heat if they lose, especially if they come out and they throw the ball 40 times and not run the ball and do some of the things that have drove us crazy, especially at the end of the year. But I think he's got to, right?
Here's where I'm going with it. This is Howie's coaches, all of his assistants, his entire roster, his entire free agents, all of his draft. He's fired a coach that has won a Super Bowl in Doug. He's fired a coach who's won a Super Bowl in Andy. I mean, I think the head football coaches in Philadelphia, they're more kind of like pawns, because this is when I first met you, you told me this is Howie vision. Okay.
And we're all just living in it.
Saturday night, not Howie vision.
Yeah, it is always Howie vision.
So if a guy shits the bed and doesn't put his players in a position, and the reason I point this out to you, so you hand Gardner Minshew the playbook with Jalen Hurts' plays, and you think you're going to put a good game plan together because it's your system, you gave it to the wrong dude. Mike, I have a problem with the coaching going into this game. I think Dable's a better coach than Nick, and I think Martindale is a better D coordinator than Jonathan Gannon. The D-line for the Giants has showed up the last couple of weeks. Now, look, I'm not sitting here going, hey, for the record, I'll bury it. I think the Eagles win too. I think it's something like 30-28. It's a 60-minute ball. Mm-hmm. But that coach has to know this is how show. You're part of the show, dude. You're like act two. You think he really has a lot of autonomy in saying anything when it comes to that football team? I don't know.
Well,
Billy, I don't know.
So you think? So let me get this straight.
No, I don't think they'll fire him. But I think they'll do the same shit to Doug, because I think it could get adversarial real quick with Howie. Because you know why? Think about it. It's his roster. If you come up small in the postseason, he doesn't want that to be a reflection of him.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, it would be Howie would look bad if somehow Nick Sirianni took all the blame, right? Because he's the one that switched coaches. He hired.
Yeah, but he blamed
Nick Sirianni.
he blamed Doug. He's blamed Doug for the meltdown of the Eagles the last 3 years after the Super Bowl. Did he not blame Doug for the meltdown?
I don't know if he blamed Doug for the meltdown. I know that there was a power struggle that Doug wanted more say in the building the roster. That's where I think you don't mess with Howie Roseman. All right, you mess with his roster, his draft picks, he's coming at your butt. You know what I'm saying? That's where, to me, the problem was. As soon as you want more power, I think it's going to be a problem. I think, though, there is some truth that if the Eagles don't win this game, I think it would be disappointment. I think anybody that says it would be lying. And if it's because of a situation that they had a bad game plan or it was the coach, he'll take heat for it. But I don't know how much, because Nick Sirianni does not threaten Howie Roseman's power. And until
that's a fact.
That's where you have a problem.
That's a fact. Okay. I want to throw this at you here. So January 9th was the first time that organizations can address players who were in the 2020 draft for a contract extension. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati came out this week and made it very clear that they want Joe Burrow as their future. And they made it very clear that they're going to do whatever it takes to pay him and keep him. Well, Hurts was part of the 2020 draft too. And it's been very silent over at the NovaCare Center. And unless you know something more than me, Philly, or you've seen something more, I've never heard the Eagles say this: he's our future quarterback. I've heard them say this: he's our 2022 quarterback. I've never heard Howie, or I've never heard Nick or anyone in that organization say that he's the future quarterback here in Philadelphia. I've heard it. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, they're not really addressing it in Los Angeles yet with Justin Herbert too. So, but if this guy is the guy, Justin Herbert was an MVP candidate. This guy is. Right. Does this game dictate that a little bit? Do they still want to see it in the postseason, in your opinion?
I think he's solidified it. I don't think
what?
Unless he really goes out and he stinks it up. I think, well, they're going to look at the body of work from this year. I think they like the kid as a leader. I think they like everything he brings to the table. I think there's a lot of issues that they don't have to worry about that they had to with Carson Wentz intangible-wise. And I think that they're going to look to sign him to an extension. If he goes out and he wins one playoff game, yeah, I'm sure that helps. If he loses, let's say they go out and they lose, but he plays well, no, I don't think it'll hurt him. If he goes out and he's horrendous, then maybe I guess there's a chance. But I can't see any way that they don't extend this guy in the offseason. I just don't see it.
So if they lose in the postseason again and they're 0-2 under the Sirianni Jalen run here, you think they're going to offer up $45 million a year for Hurts? Having done nothing.
$50 million. $50 million.
For doing what?
They're going to go $50 million.
For doing what?
Going out and taking your team to a 14-3 record. He's only lost one game all year, Dan. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
He's only lost one game, right? And we're assuming that he's going to go out
14-13.
He would have. Yeah.
Peyton Manning is 14-13 in the postseason, and I've said this about him. I completely think he completely underachieved in Indianapolis. Tom Brady kicked his ass, and so did Roethlisberger. Those guys had more wins in their place because those guys won. Even in the Brady era, your legacies are made in the postseason, Philly. They're not made against the Giants week 14.
But you don't have the luxury to wait 3-4 years to see what he does in the playoffs. You have to make a decision after 2 playoff appearances at the least, right? The first playoff appearance, if we look at it, the Eagles were the last team to get to the playoffs. They really didn't belong in the playoffs. They added an extra wildcard team. So they were kind of outmatched, outgunned in that Tampa Bay game. I don't know how much you hold that against Jalen Hurts. So the issue is going to be that after this game, let's say the Eagles lose, you really only have one game that I can really, in the playoffs, hold against them. Then you have to make a decision. They could wait a year, But what if he goes out and he has the same exact type year as he did this year, next year? It's going to cost you more money. So I don't think you have the luxury to wait 7 years like Dak Prescott to see how many times he chokes. That's the issue I see. You have to make a decision beforehand.
Okay. Who do you want to see with all the positives heading in the right direction with the Eagles winning this game against the Giants on Saturday? Who do you want to see? Do you want to see Cowboys or do you want to see 49ers?
That's
hard. Hey, look at it. Wait a minute. And folks, one of these decisions is going to make him throw up if he says it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and the other one, he knows the team is really good. So what is this? I know. Hey, I know what you want to say. I don't know. You can say it.
The thing is I think this might surprise you. I think the Niners are the easier team to beat because the Niners. My thing is the Niners are better on both sides of the ball than Dallas. I know that, but I just have a hard time knowing what a rookie quarterback is going to do in a situation. Let's say you get a tight fourth quarter game where he's got to make throws. I don't know if he's ready for that moment. I can't possibly know. It would feel better to knock Dallas out of the playoffs, but in some ways I would take that matchup of a conference final versus a rookie quarterback. I feel like that plays into the Eagles. I really think that this game is the Eagles' more vulnerable game. I feel like if the Eagles win this game, get momentum, I feel like whichever team comes into Philly is coming into a buzzsaw on that conference final game. But it's a hard choice because I really hate Dallas and I would love to enjoy them losing this week,
So hang on here. So you're buying into Dak Prescott's performance against that shitbag Tampa?
No, I don't buy into it. I thought, for weeks of saying anybody that plays the NFC South is basically getting a free pass first round of playoffs. So I don't buy into it, but I just wonder, what if this Cowboys 49ers game is close? What if it's tied 17-17, 21-21, 5-6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Purdy has to make throws? As a rookie, can he step up and do that? I don't know.
Let me ask
I don't know if Dak can do it either.
No, I'm with you here. Let me Jags and Chiefs. Who you got?
Chiefs.
9 points, by the way. The Chiefs are giving the Jags.
I love the Jags. I love what Doug did. That was such a great comeback. I don't know that they can do that versus the Chiefs, though. I don't know if they can come back down off that high, too. That's a hard thing to do after a win like that. So I'll go
Bengals
Chiefs.
At Bills. Bills are favored by 5.5.
This is going to be, I think, a fantastic game. If Josh Allen if he's turning the ball over like he did last week, I think they're going to lose. I think Cincinnati. But I'll say Buffalo in a squeaker because of home
Cowboys, field. Niners favored by 4.
This one. I have to take Dallas. I take Dallas in the upset. I'm going to take Dallas. I don't want them to win.
Winning outright?
I think they're going to win outright. And the only reason I say it is it comes back to the quarterback. If Garoppolo's playing in this game, I would take the Niners every day. But because of a rookie quarterback, I just don't know.
Would you take the Giants and the points against the Eagles in this game Saturday night if you're a betting man? Not an Eagle fan, but if you're a betting man.
Probably.
And get this. Here's the under-over, 47.5.
I like the over.
I like the over in that too because hey, watch this. Yeah. If everything goes right in that game, Philly, and they're patient, they get Goddard going in that game, and I'm talking the Eagles, you could beat them 30-20. You know what I mean? Right. You could see them beating them 30-20 late in that ball game, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think this is – I got the Eagles winning 27-23. So I have a 4-point game. I think it's going to be about a 4-point game.
I do too.
So, yeah, I think it'll be close. But 7.5 points kind of surprises me, and it makes me wonder what Vegas knows.
Guess what, too? That number didn't move from Monday.
No,
Okay. I mean, it's
never
been
moved.
pretty standard the whole entire week where it stayed at 7.5, you know?
Yeah, it's an interesting line. A little surprising for sure.
Okay. Final question for you. What's going to be consumed Saturday night for the game? I mean, the beverage and what is going to be around Philly 500. And I'm not sure there's going to be too many people around you because you probably look like me that at any moment we could jump up like we're looking for a loose football on the ground, like there's a fumble. Okay. Because hey, I jump up sometimes going, what are you doing? So
Right.
what is there going to be like, is there going to be hookahs, food,
No.
wing, no hookahs?
No food, no wings, because I stream the game. I think it's disgusting to be on camera and eat in front of everybody. I just can't do that, you know. But if I do
no
drink,
vape pens or hookahs or anything, just beer.
If I do drink and have a few beers, it'll be Stella Artois. That's what it'll be.
Jesus, we got an aristocratic Eagle fan here, man.
Hey, pinky up when you drink. Like the old Italians, pinky up, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Outstanding, my friend. I can't wait to see what happens Saturday. I got the Eagles winning this thing in a nail biter too, man. I think this is going to be close. Make sure you tell people, man, where they can get you because you're fabulous.
Just type in Philly 500 and you'll see a guy that looks like Denzel Washington right on the screen. That's not him. That's me. Click on it, baby. We're good to go.
You got it, man. Philly, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you, my man. Bye.
You got it, man. That's my boy, Philly 500. Fantastic stuff as always. Please check out his podcast. He's fantastic. Hit the like button. We're going to take a look at some of those games. We'll preview them. Also, the quarterbacks we'll preview. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.